and welcome to the Black Psychologist Podcast, also known as the eighth wonder of the world, where you come for the information, but you stay for the entertainment. We're back like we never left, and thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Give us 5 stars, rate us, review us. Anything less than 5 stars is uncivilized. For those that do not know, I am Dr. Kyle Osborne, one half of your humble and gracious host. He is I, and I am him. And of course, you all know I'm not flying this aircraft by myself. I'm here and I'm joined by New Jersey's finest, my esteemed colleague, my friend, my brother, Dr. Jason Coleman. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro? Man, I'm good. I can't complain. You know, we had a snow day today, but it didn't really snow all that much, so I'm happy about that. But I can't complain. What's up with you?
Nothing, man. Yeah, same here. It looked like a winter cyclone when I left out on the way to the hospital today. And then by the time I left, everything was gone. You couldn't even tell that it snowed.
Yeah, that's the same type of situation we had, man. Crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
mad at that. So, but I'm not mad because the traffic on the way back to the crib was great. It was almost like nobody was on the road. So
Hey, nobody out there, huh?
exactly. Yo, man,
So,
you catch the Super Bowl?
bro, of course, yo. To me, listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think that was one of the better Super Bowls that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And listen, you saw greatness, you know what I mean, in the flesh, right? Because all we heard, hold on, I'm trying to fix my view. But all we heard all year was about Brock Purdy and what he was and what he wasn't. And we found out what he was. And he was what we thought he was, right? He's a very good quarterback. But at the same time, you got to see greatness unfold, right? You got one chance to get it in, you know. You want the greatest player on the field is going to rise to the top. That's Mahomes. So
Patty Mahomes, man. Patty Mahomes.
yeah. So I
He
mean,
is becoming that guy you do not bet against. Simple as that.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't really no surprise to me because I'm not talking about all season. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm saying for that one game, there's no way I was going to bet against him. No way.
Yeah, he's that guy. You catch the Super Bowl?
Hmm?
I mean, you catch the halftime show?
Oh yeah, man.
The
I
Usher
listen.
and
I
them?
thought I thought Usher did a good job. I don't know what people are talking about, man. Like, I mean, I the fact that some people even had like harsh opinions of his performance, I'm like, people gonna complain about anything. Like, and I started thinking about past Super Bowls, and I was like, well, which performance has people not complained about? And I couldn't really find one. So, what'd you think about it?
No, he did a great job. I have to be honest with you. I was hating on him a little bit because the fact of how he was moving when he was like on the skates, had me a little irked because he can't do that, right? So and he's doing it at like age 45. So,
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, the catalog is deep,
oh
bro.
yeah, yeah. He got
You
some
know,
stuff.
it definitely. I'm gonna tell you what it made me think about. It made me think about, just if we being honest, how far some of this music has come, because he has a residency in Vegas. New Edition has the residency in Vegas. Um,
Wu
I
Tang got
know.
a to see in Vegas too.
Yeah, and I was about to say I'm bugging, but I know there's a hip hop group. It's crazy because I was thinking, I don't know why I was thinking Naughty by Nature, but so Wu has a residency, in Vegas. So it's just crazy how far some of this music has gone in terms of its influence. So I think it's good for him, man. I mean, he's about to make a lot of bread. Drop the
Mm-hmm.
album. He's announcing a tour, so it's about to get crazy.
Yeah, man. Just in time for Valentine's Day. All right.
Yeah,
It is that time of year again, and you have come to the right place for everything relationship and Valentine's Day oriented by the two love doctors. And that's what we're gonna be today. We're gonna be dishing out advice, recommendations, looking at a couple different, romantic and relationship situations and getting the best advice from Dr. Kyle and Dr. Jason. All right. So first and foremost, right, we know that not everyone is going to have a date for Valentine's Day. Right. That's just what it is. Not everybody is as fortunate to maybe be in a relationship or have a partner or someone in their life. So it's also important that we help and give some advisement for individuals that may be alone on Valentine's Day. So that's where I wanted us to start off today. And the first thing that I feel like is really important, if you find yourself in a situation where Valentine's Day comes rolling around and you may not be in a relationship or have a partner you're going to be spending it with, I think it's for me, I think it's important for you to be kind to yourself on that day. That's the first thing I'm going to recommend. And be kind to yourself and treat yourself, right? Engage in some, some really important self-care. And that can look like indulging in your favorite food, or maybe you leave work early, you go to the gym, you get a good workout in, or maybe you order some food from your favorite restaurant. Get yourself a massage, something that you're treating yourself with, right? Something it's important the same way how we're kind to your partner, your spouse, or whoever. Be kind to yourself, treat yourself. I think that's really important if you are going to be spending Valentine's Day alone, that you take it upon yourself to treat yourself with that same love and kindness and compassion that you would treat your partner with. So that's really important.
I mean, I think that's good advice. Off the top of my head, I guess I would say like a lot of things you want to pre-plan for it. So, if you know you're the type of person that is going to be like hyper focused on it, then you want to, either fill up your calendar with events, things you can do that are, pleasurable, whether it's going to a movie, whether it's going to the gym, staying at work late, if that's your thing. Also, remember what we talked about the around the holidays with like the Friendsgiving kind of theme, right? So, remember, you're not going to be you're not alone in that situation, right? Everybody doesn't have a date. Everybody's not in a relationship. Everybody's not happy in their relationship, right? So there might be other people that you can get together with and, go get a drink or go get some coffee or, just kind of hang out or even have a watch party, right? So pre-planning those around those things, can kind of help ease the anxiety and, give you a plan of having something to do.
Staying with the social aspect of things that you just mentioned, I think it's something also in kind of combining what you said with being kind to yourself. This is also an opportunity for you to maybe be kind to somebody else, right? Like maybe you come into work with maybe like treats or candy, right? For everybody. Maybe for like the office, maybe you buy somebody a coffee, maybe you send someone that's going to be alone. Maybe you send them flowers, right? Or maybe you get a card for them, right? Showing some type of kindness and compassion to somebody else or to others, right? So it's not only an opportunity for you to be kind to yourself and treat yourself, but it's also an opportunity for you to be kind to someone else, right? So it's not just a day that's strictly just for couples, right? It could be for everybody, like you said. If it's with a group of people, you guys getting together and hanging out. I think the girls or the women call it Galentine's Day, right? I think that's right. Or you getting with your homies and y'all just kind of hanging out, maybe getting a drink, happy hour, or whatever the case may be. I think that's important. It's just also being kind to yourself and being kind to other people. Simple gesture, right? Could also go a long way and kind of maybe possibly filling that void.
Right. And at the end of the day, you know, realize that it is a made up holiday, right? It's made up to get everybody's money. And yeah, people like to, wear red that day, but everybody doesn't celebrate St. Patty's Day. Everybody doesn't wear green, right? So, but you're gonna see it, right? So you want to prepare, kind of the same way.
Right. Having kind of practicing that acceptance aspect of things. Also be very, very careful of the social media, right? The doom scrolling aspect. It's going to be a day where people are going to be posting, themselves and their partners, hashtag relationship goals. They're going to be, like you mentioned, they're going to be at the restaurants. There's going to be a lot of posts. You know what I mean? You're at Ocean Prime, you're at Steak 48, Ruth's Chris, all these other different things that people post. all these are different things. So be mindful of that, right? Like you said, kind of expect that that's what you're going to see when you open your phone, you're on social media or on whatever site. Like that's just what you're going to see for the day. So not putting too much stock into all that, and allowing some of those negative and those intrusive thoughts to kind of sink in, and you start to judge yourself, and then you just kind of go in a downward spiral. Be very careful as far as what you see and like your time on social media tomorrow, because you know what it's going to be. Like we know what the whole theme is going to be and what's going to be posting, and it can get ridiculous and overwhelming at times.
Right. Right.
So yeah. So speaking of which, right? Speaking of dating, right? I want us to talk about something called contra-dating. You familiar with that, Jay?
I familiarized myself with it today, but I can't
There
tell
you
you
go.
I heard of it before. No.
And for those of you that aren't aware of what contra-dating, I got a quick piece to share with everybody here.
Yeah, I think that might be a new concept for a lot of people, man. I hadn't heard of it.
Right?
Love, maybe it's time to break free from the usual dating routine and give contra-dating a whirl. Coined by the dating site Plenty of Fish, contra-dating involves stepping outside your comfort zone and dating someone outside your typical type. According to a 2023 survey by Plenty of Fish, 59% of British singles have embraced contra-dating, with one-third changing their approach after unsuccessful attempts sticking to their usual type, reports the HuffPost. Dating expert Eva Gallagher suggests contra-dating for singles looking to diversify their dating experiences. Reflecting on past relationships, Gallagher advises looking beyond superficial similarities and identifying the qualities that truly matter. Mind Body Green adds that meeting somebody in person beats online encounters, as it offers a genuine view of their appearance, demeanor, and energy. Plus, you can be a more normal version of yourself if you meet someone in real life while engaging in activity. It lets you be your authentic self, unlike meeting a stranger for coffee. So why not give contra-dating a try? You might just find love in unexpected places.
All right. That's what contra-dating is. All right. Diversification, Jay. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, for me, I think everyone has a preference. Everyone kind of has things that they value in a relationship or that they value in a person or a partner that they're seeking. You have your preferences. You have your dating criteria. And I think at some point in time, if you're continuing to subscribe to those preferences or those whatever those values, and you keep experiencing the same trouble or issue or things aren't working out, and you keep having these challenges with the same type of people, I think at some point you do have to switch gears, right? You do
Mm-hmm.
have to, I guess, in the same vein as contra-dating, you do have to kind of step outside your comfort zone. Because at some point you have to look at, okay, what's the common theme here, right? You continue, something's got to be switched up. You got to change at some point in time, unless you're just going to continue repeating the same issue, right? So the same thing with the dating sites, you're going to have to figure out, okay, what aspect of that I keep repeating or am I keep indulging in that I keep running into the same problem. So that's kind of what my main takeaway was with contra-dating, is that you got to switch things up in regards to whatever your preferences are, your values, because it doesn't appear to be working because you're getting the same result.
I mean, I'm absolutely in support of it because, see, this is the thing, right? People, like what we're talking about mostly is, again, we're talking about preference, right? Um, which is mostly going to come down to a lot of times like appearance and like image, right? Or like some characteristics, right? But the majority of it is physical or things that we could put on like a list. So it's going to be like somebody's job title, their height,
Yeah.
what they look, So again, a lot of this stuff is going to be certain basic characteristics of like phenotype, right? Like things that we see, right? So, but values don't fit in anywhere there, right? So the only thing that contra-dating is really going to do is make you date somebody who's not in the package that you would normally be attracted to, right? And at the end of the day, people can give you a list all they want, but if you flush it out, they're not going to really know what attracts them to another person past a few things. You know what I mean? Now, over time, the values, I think, and that connection is what's going to probably keep you with somebody, right? So the contra-dating doesn't compromise that. So again, I think it's a good thing. Now, why would people push back against it? Because in their mind, right, they're going to have an image of, I see myself with a person that practices this religion, right? That's this race, that's this height, that does this kind of work, right? And they're going to fight you on it. And I think what this theory is kind of saying is every single one of those people that is a different, whatever than you would usually go for, right? Height, job, race, physical attributes, they might have these same values, right? So they might kind of be your perfect match and you might be overlooking them. So I think the contra-dating is really giving people an opportunity to kind of expand their potential dating pool, But what is it going to require? It's going to require you going against, what your, preferences might be when it comes to appearance and characteristics, right?
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, Joe. What is the definition of insanity? Right?
I think I know where you're going, man. Same thing over and over, right?
So at some point in time, you have to change stuff, right? What responsibility and culpability do you have on yourself in regards to we've heard so many different people say, oh, I can't find this person. There are no good men. There are no good women. There's no good. So I keep running into these same type of people. Every person I'm involved with, the same thing happens. All right, well, you need to switch up where you're finding these people, or you need to change, like you mentioned, those superficial characteristics, right? Like if you're looking for a certain person, that makes a certain salary, right? Or you're shopping, or you keep going to one particular area to pick up, dates or whatever to find a mate or a partner, and you keep running into the same issue. At what point do you go to a different setting?
Right.
Right. That's also why I feel like the contra-dating kind of fits in terms of you have to change whatever you've been doing, because you can't always just be, oh, it's the other people, it's always them, they're all, because that's how people, they throw out like these really blanket or broad type of general speaking, there's no good person, there's no good this. And no, you got to change what you're doing. You got to switch it up and maybe, like you said, get out of your comfort zone. I know that's uncomfortable for a lot of people because a lot of people don't like change and they're kind of maybe really fixated or, stuck on a particular characteristic. But what if, as opposed to this person has to be 6 foot, what if you get somebody that's 5'8", 5'9", right? You're missing out because you're willing to overlook that physical attribute or phenotype because you're stuck on whatever height characteristic. But the other person is checking all the boxes. So at some point, you got to switch things up somewhere.
Right. I mean, listen, the whole time this conversation, like after it came up, I was thinking about, again, person I know, I'm not going to mention their name, but they're fairly close to me. I mean, listen, they've been literally dating the same person for years. It's a bunch of different people, but it's the same person, right? And every time if they solicit my advice, I tell them the same thing over and over, like, yo, the next time you like somebody, turn around and run and go find the exact opposite person and date them, right? And that might be your soulmate, right? Because what I know is that what you think you want, right? You know what I'm saying? It don't work.
It don't work.
So whether so again, I think that kind of comes from this, right? Because now we're just speculating, but a lot of the people, this came from Plenty of Fish, I think, right? And I think a fair amount of people on those dating sites would tell you, that their dating history, right, involves dating the wrong type of person, right? That's often the same type of profile over and over again. So it's kind of the same story. So again, I think it's a good concept.
There you go. So some point in time, you got to switch it up and call an audible or something. You know.
Yeah, man. At some point, right?
Right. Go to a different team.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, all right, Gayle King. Right, we all know we're familiar with Gayle King. She's Oprah Winfrey's, best friend. She's a news correspondent on the one of those morning shows. I think the one on CBS. So she was recently on the Pivot podcast, and she was talking about some of the difficulties that she's had in dating post her divorce. And so she was on there talking about some of the relationship that she's been in, and she mentioned a particular situation that came up, and I wanted to get your input on this. All right, let me pull this up real quick. There we go.
That just sees you for you. I went on a date and I was really excited, very excited about it. We had gone out maybe 2 months, and then he said he really needed to talk to me. He wanted to have a private conversation. Okay, sure. What is it? Do you think you could lend me $4,000? And I'm like, oh God.
He jumped out with 4,000 out the gate, though?
I know, it's so
funny.
funny.
He didn't test the water?
You know what Oprah said? Oprah said, God, I would have felt better if he had said $40,000.
You just went in your purse. Here you go. Here you go. Get out of here.
I don't carry cash yet.
He just asked you to cash app him now.
Huh?
You just could have cashed apped him now.
I know, guys, but I was so crushed because here's somebody who was making, 6 figures, successful. And when I said, could I ask what it's for? He said, yeah, it was for a child support issue and to pay a payment on some furniture. And Oprah goes, oh God, this is just getting worse. And I said, okay. And he said, this was Sunday, and he said, I promise I'll pay you back by Thursday. I promise I'll pay you Thursday, okay. But I wrote it because I thought it had to be very difficult for him to ask me. And so I wrote it, and I just figured that would be that. And he did pay me back on Thursday, but I didn't feel the same. I didn't feel the same. But he did, to his credit, pay me back on Thursday. But it just changed the relationship for me. So in answer to...
All right. There you have it. All right. So Gayle King said she was dating a guy for a couple months, and the guy asked to borrow $4,000. All right. Said he paid it back to her, but she said that it changed the relationship. So my question to you is that all right? Right? Not necessarily just the 4,000. I mean, we can talk specifically about that situation, but like if you're a couple months in, is that okay to ask, the person that you're dating for to borrow money? Especially say if it's a significant amount, not like, hey, I need a couple dollars to, go to the store or something, but like a significant amount, right?
I mean, I would say no, right? Well, put it like this. It's not something that I would do, right? As a general rule, I think it's a very bad idea, right? Because most people are not like him. Like that she just said in the story, most people, the story would have ended another way. Right. And he still owes me the 4,000. Or now he owes me 8,000. Or then I never heard from him again, right? So that's what kind of made that story weird.
Yeah. There's some other missing information from that too.
And maybe we could talk about that, separately, but
yeah.
In general, I just think it's a bad idea, right? Just because, in my experience, most people that ask you to borrow money don't really have the ability to pay it back, right? You know what I mean? They're really borrowing it, and then they're hoping they can pay it back, right? In my experience,
it's the borrowing without the intent to return.
Right. And my experience has always been, whether it be family, whoever, like, yo, I don't really lend people money. Like, I'll give you money, but I ain't lending you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because if you tell me you're gonna pay me back in 2 weeks, like yo, I expect it like a check.
Yeah.
And I'm not even trying to be funny. I expect it like a check. I plan for it like a check. And if I don't get it, I expect to be informed about it early. And I want you to have a plan about when I'm gonna get it. And if none of that happens, and it doesn't happen in the sequence that I want, I'm very upset. Not a little bit, but very, right? But the same person is telling you the same amount of money. Like I'll give it to you. But if you tell me you paying me back, you can really damage our relationship, right?
Yeah, no, it changes the whole dynamic.
Because it comes from the premise of I don't lend people money that I need back that I can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? So I would say in general, no, right? But it's because I know that if we being honest, like most people, if they borrow money from family, like they don't they don't look at it like it's more important to pay back family than the bank or the creditors, right? So I would say in general, definitely no.
I think it's a catch-22 in regards to relationship. I feel like absolutely like a guy asking a woman, like one, I don't recommend it in any situation, right? Let me just start off with I don't recommend it in any situation. But I do feel like it's been more normalized or more accepted if the woman, right? Like say if this situation were the reverse, I feel like it wouldn't be as like, oh, he asked for 4,000 and like y'all only been dating for 2 months. Like not necessarily the amount, but I feel like men asking to borrow money from a woman, I think despite what the time frame is very abnormal, is looked down upon. Now women, there are situations where you know and I know, right? Like as we're being honest, we're having a real conversation. It could be 2, 3 weeks, right? And if things have, let me use the right term here. If things have progressed in a relationship, right? Like if things have been moving forward, and I know we've heard situations where the woman, and I'm generally speaking, all right, don't come for me, right? Generally speaking, the woman's, they feel very comfortable asking for money, right? No matter what it is, I don't want to say it's expected, but I think in certain situations, right, depending on how things have been progressing, like it's not abnormal for you to hear like, oh yeah, she asked me for $200. She asked me to pay for something. This,
But I think you're right. Right, it is a double standard, right?
Right.
Which it just is the way it is. But you have to well, at least me, like you gotta pay attention to what people say, and like that's why I said that's a specific situation. That's not even really what we're talking about because with that conversation, what is a person who is wealthy, right, or connected to one of the most wealthy people on earth, right, and is sitting around having a conversation with two millionaires who are football players, right? That's not even a conversation that regular people are gonna like us would even understand because you got to remember what she just said. She said Oprah said I would feel more comfortable if he asked for 40,000, right? So you got to remember like they're looking at it from the perspective of why are you wasting your time with a man that's down? You understand what I'm saying? Like he had to ask you because in her mind she's like, yo, if he and I'm being extreme, but in her mind she was like, if he was running a hedge fund and he was down and he needed 40 grand, that's one thing. Like if his Bentley is he need 40 grand, but if he needs 4 G's to pay for that, he's just broke while you dealing with it.
Right? Yeah, prefer child support.
Right. So that's why I'm telling you, like Gayle King is out her mind, right? So I'm not even commenting on that because she said that and thought it was a normal thing to say, right? I just didn't look at him the same. So so what she's saying is, yo, I could never look at a man that had a bad day the same, right? Because the world she lives in, like Oprah doesn't have bad days. She fires people and consolidates, right? That's what billionaires do. They don't have bad days. They fire people, sell businesses, and consolidate. Right. Even when they lose, they win. So, and that's a person who's a part of that world having a conversation with two people who are millionaires. So it's not a real like they can sit here and snicker and blah blah, but it's not a real conversation. It's kind of like the Cheesecake Factory conversation, right? It's like the Cheesecake Factory conversation again. You're talking about two black people who are like famous and they act like us, but they're not like us. They're rich. You understand what I'm saying? They're very wealthy, right? So that's why the other guy didn't understand the conversation because he goes to the Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
Right. But if you're selling books and you're on CNN and you've been doing this for decades, you're not going to the Cheesecake Factory. The same way Gayle King doesn't understand people owing you having a bad week, right, and borrowing $4,000 and paying it back. That's a bum to her. So that's why it's like you can't. That's why social media for regular people is like poison, right? Because when normal people get those type of ideas in their mind, like they sound crazy. Because it's a crazy comment. Bro, she said I would have felt better if he asked for 40,000.
Yeah, like you need some money for your startup. I got you. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So what she's saying is, I would have rather him scammed me. I would have rather him went out for 2 months and been like, listen, baby, I got this big idea, but listen, the money is just held up. It's in my other account and it ain't clear yet. So I need 200,000.
He could have handled that situation a lot better. He could have wrapped it up.
But it sounds crazy, but that, like, when I was listening to it, bro, I'm like, yo, is she serious?
Yeah, she's serious. And that was the thing. Like, I think just overall, it's in bad taste, especially earlier in a relationship, too much. And again, I think there was some missing information that also contributed to him feeling as bold to ask for money, period. But it's just in bad taste, I feel like, especially like early months into a relationship where you're asking to borrow any type of substantial amount of money. Like,
yeah,
it's one thing to be transparent and honest, but like just it's better off that you just be like, hey, listen, I know we're supposed to do something, can't do it today, but whatever. You see what I mean? Like coming out and saying, hey, let me borrow, and I get it. Like we all have bad weeks, things happen, life happens. But like you said, it changes the dynamic of things, right? It changes the whole dynamic of the relationship, of the whole courting, how they view you and all. You know what I mean? It plants the seed for a lot of different things, and it changes just the whole perspective that somebody can have on you. So, yeah, I don't recommend anybody asking, especially for a substantial amount of money.
It's not what you want, bro. It's not what you want. And like I said, that dude, I mean, he was out of line anyway asking her for money, because you got to, again, read the room. Like, you're dating Gayle King, right? Oprah's best friend. Everybody who talks to him for 5 minutes is probably asking him for money, right? So I mean, read the room, bro. Like,
he felt like Gayle had it. He was like, listen, get my shot. He's like, Gayle got me. She got it.
Right. And that was a bad calculation. You know, again, she's wild too for how she was even looking at the situation. But he should, I mean, you know, he sealed his fate when he did that. He jumped in the hole. And you know.
That's definitely from the love doctor. That's a don't go out asking for money and requesting to borrow money, and it won't go well. It won't have the results that you.
That was just weird though, because he paid her back, and he paid her back in such a
quick fashion.
But she was disgusted giving it to him. She was just like, she gave it to him and was like, yeah, that's over.
It activates so many red flags in the situation. You see what I mean? Like, it just activates so many red flags. You start to questions start to kind of pop up, and then you're not going to do that. Can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it. Speaking of which, I have a question for you, bro. Finances. All right, it's an either or. All right, now, would you rather be in a loving relationship making $75K, or would you rather be miserably single while making $300K, right, per year? Yeah. So you're in a loving relationship making $75K, right? Or would you rather be miserably single while making 300K.
Now, I got two questions at least. How long am I gonna be single?
No, that's it. You're single. You're single for the rest of eternity. But you got 300K.
Right, but I'm miserable though.
Well, I know. That's the
but
point.
Miserable, miserable is just miserable.
I know what miserable is. Yeah. So, but
then
I'll
take the loving relationship in the 75K, because for me, you just saying I got money, but I'm still like feeling miserable. I can't really enjoy the money.
Essentially, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nah, I'm good. Give me the 75K.
75K.
Which one would you choose?
I'm taking the 300K, homie.
All right, man. I mean,
ain't that miserable about 300K?
Yeah, you're taking the 300K, and if you think about it, what's going to end up happening is you're going to be in your mansion, and then you're going to have to invite me and you know what I mean, in my loving relationship over to your mansion, and we're going to be laughing, enjoying your stuff.
And I will drink my sorrows away. It'll be fine, right on the 100 on the plasma. Listen, because here's the thing, right? Even though you're miserably single, it doesn't mean that you're not like having like little one-off relationships or just not working out. Right?
Yo, this is what I was asking you. But
you're still miserable. Like your relationships aren't working out.
You're coming to a conclusion that because the person is having a failed relationship every week, every month, every day, that they're miserable. They might not be miserable.
Listen, I'm being miserable. Company will come and they'll come and go, right? And I'm gonna have my 300K and I'll be fine. I'm fine. You see what I mean? Listen,
I'll take the 75.
I'm miserable about 300K, and I will be miserable. I will be that cranky old guy that's watching and being nice to you to your face, but hating on you behind your back because you got the nice loving family. All right, that's gonna be me, and I'm fine with that. I'm good. I'll be miserable. I got my money. I'm straight.
Hey man, hopefully you'll be charitable too.
Yeah, man. There are gonna be other different things I can do to try to make myself happy. There's gonna be a void though. It's gonna be a huge void. But I will be miserably happy with my 300K.
Nah, be all right. I don't want to be going single, bro.
That'll be all right. I'll be fine. I mean, the modern medicine, the technology is advancing, bro. I'm gonna be all right. I'll get through it. All right, I got another question for you. Krishan Rock, are you familiar with her?
Oh yeah, man.
All right, so Krishan Rock, she's been in a relationship with what's my man?
Blueface.
Yeah, with Blueface. So earlier in the month or last month, she went and got this huge face tattoo.
Right.
Blueface, right, on the side of her face. Now, not to be outdone, one of Blueface's other chicks also went and got like her back or whatever, like his name or something there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question I have for you is it okay or is it a good idea to have your partner's name, image, or likeness tatted on you?
No, this is my personal opinion. If you're not married, it's a dumb idea. If you're married, I think it's cool.
Okay.
Because people put their kids on them all the time. I mean, listen, I know kids is even different than being married because your kids are your bloodline. So technically, and this is going to be controversial to people, but whatever. You're supposed to be closer to your kids than your spouse. It is what it is. That's a bond that your spouse technically is a relationship that you have chosen to remain in for the rest of your life. Some of us. You know what I'm saying? If you're lucky. Your children is a relationship that is a blood bond. So to me, it's supposed to be, So again, I think if you're not married, then you're taking a big risk. But if you are, and that's kind of what you want to do, express that love through your art, then that's cool. But what you think about it?
I think what happens is that people think that they find like the love of their life. They want to commemorate the relationship. They want to, you know, some type of symbol that showcases like their everlasting love for one another or for that person. And as opposed to like the traditional, mementos like jewelry or something rather, right? They want to do something more permanent and that can be showcased. And that's where they go with the tattooing aspect. And no, I've never been a fan of it. Even the stats say I think 30% of individuals that do get like their partner's name or image or likeness on them, 30% of them regret it.
And a
30%,
lot of people,
that's a
a
big
lot of
number.
people end up getting it covered up. You
Yeah, they
know
end
what
up
I
getting it
mean?
covered up or they getting the laser because relationships come and go. Like even marriages, like I'll even go to say, like even marriages, like what the stats say, 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Right.
Right? Even if you share a child with that person, it's still the relationship ends. Things change, people change, circumstances change, all types of things. And I'm not trying to like say that in a disparaging manner or be like the love never wins, but I feel like that's an extreme measure of showcasing like your love for somebody, right? So I don't recommend it. And I'm totally a subscriber of, the blood situation. Like I have my mom on one arm, I have my daughter on the other arm. So again, that can't be undone.
Yeah,
Right.
it's different, you know.
Yeah. So but I think that's yeah, I don't recommend it in regards to like having like your girlfriend or you it just ugh.
Because see, and this is my point. Like, just to add on to what you're saying, like even if it's your wife or you married or something, right? Again, life can bring you whatever. So all relationships aren't gonna stay together, right? But at least the intent, right, is it's a reflection of your admiration of the person, but it's a part of that forever bond, right? So you're getting as close as you can to that blood bond, right? But a lot of times when you're getting somebody's name, that's just your paramour, right? The intent, a lot of times, the intention behind it is usually, you know, it, what's the word I'm struggling to find? Um, you might be again. I don't want to say literally, but they might be obsessed with the person, right? Or this is a honeymoon period, right? Or you want to show the person your loyalty, right? Or you want to present some grand gesture, right? All of these things, right, that have nothing to do with the reason why you would put somebody's name permanently on your body if they're connected to you through blood, right? None of those reasons would be a reason why you would put your child on you. As pretty as their face might be at one particular moment of development at one age, you're not gonna say, "Oh, she looks so cute at 6. I'm gonna put her on my chest." You're gonna be like, "I'm gonna put her on my chest because that's my daughter and I love her." You know what I mean? So that's why I brought up the intent part of it, right? And when you're just somebody's paramour, I think it's more likely that it's the honeymoon phase, and you got those big eyes and it's bright lights, and you want to impress the person, and whatever the case may be, rather than the other reasons why somebody would put somebody on their body that's either deceased or that's their mother or that's their child. So to each his own. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it falls into that category of like just having this huge infatuation with another person, and then, like you said, showcasing the loyalty aspect of it, right?
Yo,
It's like,
I'm glad
I
you
mean,
said that. Yo, I was sitting there for 30 seconds trying to find. That's what I was trying to find.
I got you,
Infatuation.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my guy. That's what I was trying to
I
find.
got you. Don't even
Yeah,
worry about it. I got
it's been a
it.
long day, man.
It was at
Long
the
day.
rim. I was like, yeah, no, let me just bring it home real quick. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, I think it showcases, and I don't want to go as far as saying there's like an attachment type of aspect, but I do believe it's like, okay, there's an element of I'm putting this person's name, I'm showing you how, you know, loyal I am to the cause, right? To us. This is my ultimate, like you said, gesture of how I feel about you. This is
Because
how.
in relationships, that's how it usually goes. From my perspective, you know what I mean? Like that's how it usually goes. Like it, and again, we're just talking anecdotal stuff, but most of the time it's usually one person that's kind of more into the other, and it's like, yo, I'm gonna show my man that I'm down with him, right? I'm gonna show my girl that she the only one, right? So you know, not a
Yeah,
good idea, people.
yeah, don't recommend it. So that's Dr. Kyle and Dr. Jason's recommendation. To each his own. You have a right. You can. It's your money, your body. You can do whatever you want. However, proceed with caution. Think it through. All right. Now I'm not mad at matching tattoos. When people get married, I get the concept. The stats and numbers aren't so great on that also, but I get it. Do you see what I mean? And I guess both people. So I guess it's kind of a collaboration kind of aspect, and it's more of a non-traditional aspect as opposed to like engagement rings or wedding bands. People get the matching tattoos. I get that also, but again, something to proceed with caution. I don't know if the ability to kind of get it covered up or with the laser removal treatment has increased people's because now folks are even more kind of cavalier with it where they say, oh, I can just get it covered up.
Right.
Right. So I think a lot of times when you have like these corrective measures that kind of increases the behavior sometimes because they're just like, I can get it corrected, I can get it fixed. But yeah, absolutely. There are other different ways, for you to show your love for somebody and your dedication and your loyalty. The infatuation, it tends to kind of fade out with time. And then again, there comes the regret if the relationship goes south or doesn't work out. So make sure you think that through on the other side.
I agree, man. I can't add nothing to that. I agree.
Anything else before we get out of here, Jay?
Nah, man. Just of course, always want to thank everybody who's riding with us. It takes the time to listen to the episodes. We appreciate it. We're gonna get 2024. We're gonna, do our best to get back up to an episode every week. Obviously alternating between the two. So we appreciate everybody that listens, and all the questions that we get and all of that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, appreciate the love. Again, continue to send your comments and your feedback. We love it. Continue to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about what we're doing here. And we're gonna continue to keep pumping out that decent, good edutainment that you all have come to love. So, everybody have a safe Valentine's Day. Don't overdo it. Again, like we just said, it's one day. Don't get caught up in too much of the rush. All right, everybody be safe. And that's about it. Jay, until next time.
All right, bro. I'm gonna text you about the other show.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good one, man. Later.
All right.